All right, I am here with 2021 Hall of Fame class inductee Ryan Crouser, and due to this strange COVID year, obviously we're going to Zoom a little bit, and we will bring the class of 2021 back in person with the class of 2022. But let me start by first saying happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I think that was just a couple days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago on the 18th. So it was a COVID birthday. Didn't do a whole lot, but my girlfriend made blueberry cheesecake. So that was a good surprise.
That's not bad at all, right there.
Yeah.
As far as 2020 is concerned, outside of COVID, pretty stellar year. I mean, king of 74-foot performances, 22 meters plus. What do you chalk up the amazing success this year to?
Yeah, it's been a difficult year for everyone. But a lot of it I kind of felt like was kind of returning to fundamentals and really just focusing on throwing. And as a professional athlete, at the end of the day, you still have to make money. And so a lot of the times for me, it's been finish in end of September and then start up again in late October.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I really train. And so it's like October to January, or January 1st really is like my off season training block. And so it was, this year we didn't have a season at all. So usually I'll start doing meets in January, and I don't really have a heavy training block until I finish the season in September. So that was a big part of it, was being able to really commit to a training block like I've never been able to do since I've been a professional. Because we went in, finished indoors. I was really happy with that, through 2260 indoors for a PB. And then right after that, everything got shut down. So I was lifting in the garage and throwing off a sheet of plywood in a parking lot and doing my med ball workouts at the concrete supports underneath the bridge. So, it wasn't ideal. So the best course of action at that point was kind of just to push heavy volume in the weight room and try to get a little bit stronger. There was, not much going on as far as distractions. So I did fish a couple of bass tournaments, like one every weekend, just to stay sane. But besides that, it was really just training. So we were spending a lot of time in the garage lifting, and then a lot of time out throwing in the parking lot. And so it just really was kind of a return to fundamentals, because I just had a weight set in the garage with a lifting rack and a barbell and a bench. So I could really only do certain primary lifts, and then had to get creative to do other stuff. So that was, I think, a lot of it was really focusing on what I had available and what I could find a way to be successful with. And it kind of showed me that, having a super nice weight room and great facilities is obviously nice to have, but it's not absolutely necessary.
No, you're right. As long as there's something, no doubt about it. So how did you change your mindset when you heard that the Olympics were now moved back a year?
Yeah, so it was difficult. It was almost more difficult for me earlier on, with, like, it was the second weekend in March when everything got shut down. Like, we're at practice on Monday in the morning, and just the word came down, hey, everything's shutting down at 5 p.m. We'll reopen indefinitely. And so that was kind of difficult. And at that point, it was like, okay, we'll take 2 weeks and train as best we can, and then we'll have a better idea and know kind of how to progress forward. But then 2 weeks later, it felt like we didn't know anything more than we did before, except for more meets had been canceled.
Right.
And so I sat down with my coach and my training partner and just said, hey, it looks like we probably aren't going to have meets for a while. And at best case scenario, let's just train like we're going to have meets in August and September. And if we have meets, then great. But if not, we'll have set ourselves up really well to build a base for Tokyo in 2021. which because that was right about the time it got postponed. And at that point, it was almost a little bit of a relief. The number one thing was just don't cancel it. As an
Hmm.
athlete, they didn't want to see happen was just to cancel outright. And when it was postponed, it was almost a little bit of a sense of relief because you had some of these other countries that didn't lock down or didn't have COVID very bad that had their athletes at full training centers, like their national training centers didn't shut down, or if they did, it was for a week or two and then they were back up. And so you're looking on social media and seeing all these guys training around the world that have access to their normal facilities, normal PT, uh, just a pretty much daily life is completely normal. And then you have other countries and some of the European countries in the US with athletes not having access to anything at all, just being pretty much entirely locked in their apartment.
Right.
So when they did cancel the Olympics, it felt like in the fairness of everything that that was probably the right decision. Just so in 2021 we can have a much more level playing field in terms of preparation and facilities access.
And now you sit number 3 in the world, inching closer to number 1 all time in the world. What would that mean to you?
I mean, that's a huge goal of mine and kind of just would be a huge milestone. Obviously, anyone who starts out or has any background in track and field knows that kind of the ultimate dream is the world record to throw as far, run faster than anyone ever has. So that's kind of a huge goal of mine and definitely a motivator. But at the end of the day, I'm still competing against myself is the way
Hmm.
I kind of view it. Always looking if I can throw a PR, I'm beyond happy with that. Because I mean, if I can throw a PR, I'm the best I've ever been, and so there's not very many sports that you can say that in. Uh, as a definite fact that I'm the best today that I've ever been. And so I'm just still working to move my PR out there. And if I can move it far enough, that world record will come and hopefully even add something onto that by the time my career is done. But at this point, it's in the back of my mind, but it's not really the main motivator. I'm just working every day to try to move that PR out farther, and if I can keep doing that, that world record will come at some point when it's ready.
No doubt. And while it's been obviously an unusual year, it's been a fabulous year for you. However, your induction into the Texas Track and Field Hall of Fame is in large part, obviously, to your career, stellar career at the University of Texas. What are some of your favorite memories from your college days?
Yeah, I mean, I have so many. I mean, I was so happy that I went to Texas, and looking back, I mean, if I had looking back on it, would obviously do it all again. I'd say that, I mean, there's a lot of outstanding memories. The one that really stands out was winning Big 12s my sophomore year there in Waco.
Hmm.
The first time I threw over 21 meters through 2109 to win Big 12s. And so that was a special one. And then the following year at Big 12s at Texas Tech, where that's probably my most memorable. I threw my first meet over 70 feet. So for any shot putter, that is kind of the holy grail, especially at the college level. Very few people throw over 70 feet, and that's kind of for the longest time has been the gold standard of shot put. So the first time over 70 feet is obviously extremely memorable. But then I came back the next day and threw 63.90, still my PR in discus, to get the Big 12 record, the conference record, and win the championship. So that one, and then we won the team as well. So that was a really special weekend for me and for the team. That one, and we just had a lot of good guys. The Texas men's track and field team at the time was a super close knit group.
Hmm.
Uh, just a really good team camaraderie. So winning that conference championship meant a lot. Just having all those guys there, it was really I mean, it is always a team effort, but it felt like it especially was with that group of guys.
And now in 2021, and then like we mentioned earlier, we'll bring you back in 2022 to celebrate both classes in person. But you'll join with the likes of Sammy Walker, Randy Matson, Dana LeDuc, another Longhorn. So, what would that mean to you now uh, to really be immortalized in Texas track and field with names like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's an honor. I'm just honored to be a member of that group. And I mean, Randy Matson especially was one who, growing up, I remember when I was in 8th grade, my dad got me the Randy Matson story, his biography, and I read that. And that goal in 8th grade, he had thrown 60 feet. And then in 8th grade, my goal was to throw farther, and I threw 60 feet 2 inches. And I watched a ton of his film growing up. He's had one of the nicest technical models for the glide, especially at the time. He was really innovative in the shot. So huge inspiration to me just to be involved and honored being in any category that I'm alongside with him. So, and I mean, I know Dana, and he's a great guy as well. Saw him last fall, and so it's just an honor to be in in any Hall of Fame, especially as prestigious as the Texas Track and Field Hall of Fame.
And obviously names, I mean, how could I forget? I almost want to hit myself. Michael Carter.
Yeah. So, and I mean, he stands alone. This, I think, without a doubt, it's difficult to argue that's the highest level high school track and field record in anything. No one's come close. I think I was the second farthest, and I'm still second farthest high schooler, and I'm still feet off of it. So, yeah, Michael's throw for the high school national record, and then what he did later on,
Yeah.
winning Olympic medal while playing in the NFL. So he's had an unbelievable career as well. So I'm honored to be mentioned with that list of names.
Ryan, and we are extremely proud that you will be part of our Hall of Fame. And once again, under the strangest of circumstances, we're going to Zoom with all of our inductees this year. But like I said, we promise to have you all in person next year. And with 2022, we're just going to have a huge party with everyone.
All right. Yeah, I'm most definitely looking forward to it. Looking forward to putting COVID, I think, behind everyone
Yes, sir.
and getting life back to normal. So I'll be looking forward to it.
We appreciate your time. You have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Good to
Bye bye.
go.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right. Have a